welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video, we're going to compare my most recent cruise on MSC to my cruises that I have done in the past with Royal Caribbean. I am going to start off with a disclaimer. So the two Royal Caribbean cruises that I have done in the past that I am comparing my one MSC cruise to, we sailed the Independence of the Seas in 2022, and then in 2023 we sailed on the Serenade of the Seas. So I've not done the mega ships and the ships that you would see like in the advertisements and the most popular ships, but I do feel comfortable in comparing the two cruise lines because Independence and Serenade did give us a Royal Caribbean experience, and we will eventually sail some of the mega ships. As for MSC, I've only sailed them once, and it was on the MSC Seashore in 2024. So I have been on one of MSC's biggest and newest ships, but we still got a MSC experience. So we're going to look at a few topics in this video, and we're going to compare the two cruise lines. I'm probably not going to keep any kind of score because I genuinely liked Royal Caribbean and MSC about the same. So this is probably just going to be me kind of giving you some talking points between the two cruise lines to kind of sway you in the right direction of which one would be right for you. So the first thing we're going to discuss is the ships themselves. So like I said, the two Royal Caribbean cruises that I did were older ships. However, they were still Royal Caribbean ships. So the Independence of the Seas was amplified back in 2018. She received some upgrades, such as receiving the sky pad, the perfect swim water slides, playmakers, and all kind of fancier stuff to keep up with the modern times. Serenade of the Seas, not so much updated, more of that classic feeling cruise ship. The Royal Caribbean ships that have some beautiful decor, more wooding on the ships, and just kind of more classic feeling. They're nice. They're usually pretty nice and wide and open. Like the Independence had the promenade down the middle of the ship, and you know, it was a really nice they have nice layouts of their ships and really easy to follow layouts. Now, for the MSC cruise, the MSC ship was modern. It was sparkly, very clean, very fancy, very elegant. It was definitely the most technological advanced cruise ship that we have been on so far. So it was very nice to see all the enhancements on technology. Extremely modern, sleek design. Didn't really feel much like a classic cruise ship, but it was very clean and sparkly and bright. Like, you definitely could see your way around the ship. The layout of the Seashore was kind of easy to follow. It was kind of weird at the same time to learn, but we kind of caught on to it pretty quickly. But yeah, so MSC, the ships, all of them are modern and sparkly and glitzy. Royal Caribbean, I think as you get to the newer ships, they're more modern and not as dark colored, but overall the ships are going to be pretty spectacular depending on either cruise line you choose to sail. All right, now to the next topic, which is a big one when it comes to MSC specifically, and that is the food. So the food for me on both cruise lines was pretty average. Royal Caribbean, for me personally, the food was better quality and better taste. However, on both cruise lines, actually, there's not a lot of free food options. Now, I am aware that as you get into the newer ships of Royal Caribbean, there is more free food options. But when it comes to the Independence of the Seas and the Serenade of the Seas, if you want other food besides maybe 3 places, you have to pay. And that was very similar with the MSC Seashore specifically. If we wanted free food, we had to eat at the buffet or the main dining room. And if we didn't want the free food, we had to pay for food. There was a lot of specialty dining restaurants on the MSC Seashore. Supposedly, MSC's new ship for America, the World America, is going to offer some more included food options on board. It'll be very similar to the MSC World Europa, if you are familiar with that ship. But for Royal Caribbean, they did have a pizza place, Sorrento's, on the Independence of the Seas. The older ship's not necessarily going to have as many options, but there is some. But we did pay to eat at Johnny Rockets. Breakfast is free at Johnny Rockets, but we paid for lunch. That is, at the moment that we went, that was $10 per person. I'm not sure what the price is now. If someone knows if it's changed, do let me know down in the comments. But when we went, it was $10 per person. And the food at Johnny Rockets for lunch was okay. I think on my next Royal Caribbean cruise, if they have a Johnny Rockets, we will try the free breakfast on board. But the free food on MSC, if you have cruised Carnival in the past, like me, it was pretty comparable to Carnival, I would say. I didn't really have anything that I didn't enjoy. MSC definitely has the best pizza at sea. I thoroughly enjoyed pizza and made sure to eat pizza for lunch every day. Now I would have pizza and I would have some food from the buffet because I did overall enjoy the food on MSC, but I would say Royal Caribbean was better quality and better taste for me personally, but food is definitely solely up to you. All right, the next topic we're going to talk about is the ship accommodations, kind of the stuff to do. Now, this is where it can get a little bit tricky for my personal experiences. So for the older ships with the Royal Caribbean, there's not going to be as much to do, specifically on Serenade of the Seas. Serenade of the Seas is going to be one of those more classic cruise ships, but I enjoy the older, smaller, classic ships. So if you're like me, you would have a ball on Serenade of the Seas, walking around, enjoying the pools and the hot tubs and the lovely views of the ocean that you get on the older ships. But for the Independence of the Seas, and for kind of those mid-level Royal Caribbean ships, you're gonna have things such as the Perfect Storm Water Park, a flow rider, a rock climbing wall, mini golf. They have the skating rink that they open when they're not doing ice skating shows. I believe some ships have laser tag on board, and then as you get on up into the newer Royal Caribbean ships, such as Oasis class, they'll offer, the Ultimate Abyss, zip lines, ropes courses on Icon class. It gets crazy as the ships get bigger and bigger and bigger. For MSC, the older ships are not going to have as much, just similar to Royal Caribbean. And then as you work your way up, they will offer water slides, ropes courses. The World America and World Europa are going to have more activities similar to the newer Royal Caribbean ships. So they're kind of tit for tat. I would say the bigger Royal Caribbean ships are going to offer more onboard activities than the MSC ships, but we will see as MSC continues to develop who really takes the cake for ship accommodations. Royal Caribbean does have some pretty great theater shows on board. So you will have, I will say, Royal Caribbean as of 2024 does have the better ship accommodations. All right, I briefly touched on this section, just the previous one, but we're going to talk about entertainment. This is going to be like your shows and things going on around the ship, what the cruise line is given to you. So on the older Royal Caribbean ships, you're going to have those more classic theater shows. Same with MSC. You're going to have the more classic theater shows, and then they'll all do game shows and trivias and bingos and pool deck activities. They all do those. But as you work your way up with the Royal Caribbean, the Independence and the similar ones like the Voyager class, the Freedom class, they're going to offer the ice skating show on board and Broadway style shows. So I highly recommend seeing, if your ship has a ice skating rink, I highly recommend seeing the ice skating show. It is a must see. And each ship usually has a different ice skating show and a different Broadway style show. The Broadway style shows are going to be held in the main theater, and the ice skating shows are going to be held in the ice skating rink. And then as you get up to Oasis and Icon class, those ships are going to offer Broadway style shows, ice skating shows, and aqua theater shows. And like I said, I have not sailed the Mega Royal Caribbean ships yet, so I have not personally seen an aqua show, just seen pictures and videos online of it. But I highly, highly, highly recommend, if you have one of those ships booked or are looking into it, make sure you check out the aqua show, and they're all going to be different on each ship. So make sure you check it out if your ship has it. Now for MSC, it's going to be pretty similar. It's going to be shows in all the theaters, and they do offer game shows, bingos, trivias. Like I said, they all offer that, but they will have shows in the main theater every night. And I believe I want to say it's the Meraviglia class. They have a show that you have to pay for, that you can see as well. If you have sailed Royal Caribbean's Quantum class, they have a similar area in the back. On Royal Caribbean, it's called 270. I'm not sure what it's called on the Meraviglia class, but they have that in the back. But you have to pay to see that show, from what I've heard. So that's kind of one of the downsides. For MSC, you can make reservations, but at least on the seashore, it wasn't required, but you could make them. I think with Royal Caribbean, at least on the Aqua Show and stuff, you do have to make a reservation. So that is something to consider. But the shows on the MSC Seashore were fantastic, and then every show we've seen on Royal Caribbean has been top notch. The next section we're going to talk about is private islands. Now, Royal Caribbean does offer several private islands. They have Perfect Day at Coco Cay in the Bahamas. They have Labadee, Haiti. They have and they have Perfect Day Mexico coming in 2027. And they are opening some beach clubs in Nassau and Cozumel, which will be only accessible to Royal Caribbean and possibly Celebrity Cruise Line. I have only been to Coco Cay. Both of my Royal Caribbean experiences did go to Coco Cay. MSC Cruise Line has Ocean Cay in the Bahamas, or Ocean Key, whatever you want to call it. And the cool thing about when we went to Ocean Cay, we did an overnight there, and they do offer cruises that have overnights at Ocean Cay. So I'm going to touch on Coco Cay, and then we'll move back to Ocean Cay. I think I am going to make a separate video breaking down Coco Cay versus Ocean Cay, but more on that later. Coco Cay is a great day. They offer plenty of beaches for you to check out, and they do have some things that you can pay to do as well. You can have a completely free and frugal day at Coco Cay, or you can do something like the water park for the day. And they do have an adults only area now opened up, and they also have this big pool in the center and really great food on board the island, and most of it is free. So it's a great day, and if you have perfect weather, it's even better. Now, Ocean Cay, which we were just there on our most recent MSC cruise, was wonderful. They have several beaches, and it is absolutely beautiful. Crystal clear water, perfect white sand beaches. They do offer a few excursions there if you would be interested. They have the lighthouse, which you can climb and do as an excursion, which we did do, and I highly recommend doing it. And they also offer food throughout the island, and they have a buffet in the center. And then they also, if you are cruising in the yacht club with MSC, they do offer a private area for yacht club guests. And it is a marine reserve, so there is wild animals there. Like, we saw a big giant sea turtle when we were there. So it is possible to encounter some sea life there, as it is a marine reserve. But the cool thing about Ocean Cay is they do offer overnights there. And it was extremely cool to be there at night. And they did a beach party there. They usually do a lighthouse show. On our sailing, the lighthouse was malfunctioning, so we did not get to see the lighthouse show, but that is another reason why we will be cruising MSC again. And then we left the next day in the afternoon, and it was great for us to wake up and enjoy the island in the morning. That is when we did the lighthouse climb, and we were actually some of the only ones that were off on the island. So we just about had the island to ourselves, which was really cool. If they offered 3-day cruises, this might be something they do in the future. But if they offered a 3-day cruise that was just to Ocean Cay, but it did an overnight like we did on our cruise on the seashore, I would 100% book it in a heartbeat, because Ocean Cay was amazing. I actually probably preferred Ocean Cay over Coco Cay, but that is just personal preference. I do love a good day at Coco Cay, but Ocean Cay was pretty great as well. The next thing I'm going to discuss is rooms. So on the Independence of the Seas, we had a guarantee ocean view cabin. On the Serenity of the Seas, we had a interior cabin. And on the MSC Seashore, we did a balcony. Now, the rooms on the cruise lines, they're all going to be around the same size. Cruise ship rooms are not the biggest, but they're not the smallest. The room that we had on the MSC cruise was extremely modern and spacious, and it was amazing to have the balcony. We loved our ocean view cabin with Royal Caribbean, and our interior cabin was also a great room as well. It really just kind of depends on what room you get, but if you are going on a cruise, you're not going to spend a whole lot of time in the room anyway. So really, it's not the biggest factor for me, but I do love a balcony or a window if we can swing it by some chance. But yeah, we definitely preferred our room on MSC because it was a balcony, but our rooms on Royal Caribbean were not awful as well. We enjoyed all of the rooms we've had. The next thing I'm going to talk about is the level of service that we received on both cruise lines. So with Royal Caribbean, on our first cruise, the first night of the cruise, it was kind of, we didn't have the best service, mainly in the main dining room. But as the cruise went on, the service did get better. Serenity of the Seas, we had an extremely amazing, perfect crew on board. And MSC Seashore, we had amazing crew as well. I will say the bartenders, each bar on MSC, each bar did not have more than 2 bartenders. I never saw a bar, even the ones by the pool deck, during busier times, each bar never had more than 2 bartenders, which was something interesting to me. And they didn't walk around the pool deck offering to sell drinks, and we have seen that with Royal Caribbean and Carnival Cruise Line, but this one did not have that. So the bar service, and like if you wanted a drink, it was a little bit slower because you did have to walk up to the bar, and then with them only having 2 bartenders, it wasn't really the fastest, but it wasn't unbearable either. Like, you got your drink. With Royal Caribbean, we have always received great service with Royal Caribbean. Everyone else on board the MSC ship was fabulous. Our cruise director was amazing. We've had 2 amazing cruise directors with Royal Caribbean as well. And the last thing I want to talk to you guys about is the price comparison. So, with the Royal Caribbean, the price you are going to pay is guaranteeing you a spot on board. It is not including anything like drink packages, Wi-Fi, specialty dining, or excursions. It is guaranteeing you a room and a spot on board the ship for what's included. You have to add everything else on. Now with MSC, you will get the same price, and they do offer various packages where you can include your drink package and Wi-Fi or something like that along the lines. And MSC also offers packages, which I am going to do a video discussing them and breaking them apart, where they have the Bella experience, the Fantastica experience, the Aria experience, and of course, the Yacht Club experience. I am making a video pulling apart and breaking down each of those experiences to kind of make it easier for you guys to understand. But like I said with Royal Caribbean, not a lot is included with that total price, neither with MSC. However, on an MSC cruise, you are significantly going to pay less to go on MSC than you are with Royal Caribbean. I will say though, there's probably more upcharges on MSC than there is on Royal Caribbean, but it really depends on the ship. And I will say the packages on MSC are definitely going to be cheaper than they are on Royal Caribbean, but it also depends on when you go and where you are cruising. But that is going to be it for today's video. I enjoy both cruise lines. Neither cruise line has given us trouble in the past, and we will continue to sail both cruise lines. I do have some exciting videos coming up in the future that I can't wait to share with you all. But I hope each and every single one of you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you give this video a like, share this video with one of your friends, and subscribe to my YouTube channel and turn on that notification bell so you get notified each and every time I post a brand new video. Until the next one, I will see you around. Bye.